is small, but that's not an issue. Let's not judge them because they don't need a big brain. They can do so much that we can't. What is inside of that head, much of it is muscle to power a jaw of unparalleled strength. No other creature on earth has a more powerful jaw for its size. As a scavenger, they need to crunch bones.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what I've got for them is Wallaby. It's got fur. This is what devils do. They eat everything. As a scavenger, they can't afford to be fussy. And you can see things are starting to sort of liven up.
Yeah.
Once I put this down,
Jeremy,
these
watch your camera.
Yeah, so just be aware of that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just let them get a smell, get their senses engaged. I'm suggesting their behaviour suggesting that they're quite well fed at the moment, or otherwise there'd be more tension. So what I want to do is drop this between them, because if I drop it either side, there's no concept of sharing.
Yeah.
There will be just one will take it and run. Okay.
Good opportunity.
This is quite subdued. Now this is you can hear the ease with which they're crunching the bones. To put things into perspective, their jaws open about 90 degrees.
Oh, wow.
About 45 times more powerful bite than ours. And really a male lion in its very prime only has about 30% stronger jaws than a devil. As a scavenger, they're well built for it. Like the hyena of Africa, there are many resemblances actually. It's an example of convergent evolution. Longer legs, front legs and back legs for low centre of gravity, good leverage for pulling apart a carcass. Okay, look at the ears, are starting to get red.
Yeah.
Air conditioning is on. Black coat, a lot of energy being expended into this activity, and they pump blood into their ears, which is sparsely furred, and this cools down their body. Black in colour, perfect for a nocturnal scavenger and hunter, because if they need to, they're very good hunters. What we must realise is most animals see in black and white. Devils do, and most animals, their eyesight's radically different from ours in that it's geared towards movement rather than detail. So if there's a potential item of prey and it sees this black thing with bits of white, it's not a clear shape. Those whiskers. Devils have got a unique system. They're a solitary carnivore, but they don't hold a territory, and they feed together. It's totally
so
unique.
Strange.
I'll explain what I mean by this. Now, look at the whiskers, how long they are. You can see, let's say we're three devils sharing a carcass. Our whiskers touch. We're aware of each other there.
Yeah.
However, when we're feeding nose to nose and there's a shrinking hunk of meat, collateral damage may occur. And you can see the tattered ears, bits of nose, bits of lip. That's quite natural.
Totally mastering the whole thing.
Correct. Okay, now how do these guys scavenge? Not using their eyesight. Eyesight's mainly just for hunting, for assessing danger. Their nose is their first weapon. We humans devote about 0.5% to cataloguing smells. These guys have about 12%. What this means, they can detect blood, rotting flesh from 2 kilometres away.
Yeah. And that's why as you walk up with the esky, they could smell it straight away.
Yeah, keep your eyes over here. You'll probably see a devil patrolling in the adjacent enclosure. Likewise, it gets more impressive. Their range of finding food without relying upon their eyes extends to up to 4 or 5 kilometres if there's a favourable wind. Why? Their ears. Check them out, they're the size of owls. The ear canal is much broader, deeper, and they can hear sounds such as this, the crunching the bones,
Oh, yeah.
and the and squabbling from that distance away. That's why
So their
they're
feeding
a
will
communal feeder.
will attract more.
That's correct. So that's why they're a communal feeder. There's no idea of like, oh, let's share and help each other out. It just so happens it's accepted. Because for a guy like this, holding the territory and defending it, it's a small animal. There's not much point. It couldn't hold down a big territory. There's no guarantee anything dead is going to be in it. It's highly unlikely. And there mightn't even be enough to hunt. So they have loose home ranges. So they venture out, might be an 8 square kilometre home range. If they go along well-worn paths that they incorporate geographical features such as rises and dips, so they can be up high, assessing what the wind's carrying, listening out for these sorts of sounds. And if they don't find anything, they extend their range. What this means is all of their home ranges overlap and there's no real drama. There's no tension or anything like that. And when they hear the crunching of bones or whatever, they go in and join in. There's a squabble and then they settle down to eating based upon hierarchy. So it's a great system because it's accepted that reluctantly they're going to have to share. So they're maximising their chances of getting food, and it's practical for tearing apart a carcass when you've got, 3 or 4 others pulling from different directions.
Yeah, having a bit of a tug of war.
Yeah. So you said they're nocturnal. How late will you ever feed them? Probably this is about as late, eh?
No, we feed them in the afternoon. This is just we can't be open because you know what it's like with zoos. You don't go into it to be a multi-millionaire. So, we've got a few members of staff and we have a 9-hour, we're here from 8 till 5 and we can't be here all around. So these guys have adapted. They've adapted. And the fact is, if a devil was sleeping in the wild and caught smell of something dead nearby that had just died, well, it would go out and eat it anyway, if it was in a densely forested area. So
it would wake from its slumber because its smelling is that acute.
That's correct, yeah. And what happens, their method of sleeping is different to ours. They don't go out like we do and have dreams. At any given stage, they have the ability, like so many animals and birds, to shut down 50% of their brain at once and most of their body. So they will still listen out for danger and so forth. Yeah, so they're able to have a more sort of selective sleep than us. Now, I mentioned before, why are these guys scavengers? There's a reason it stretches back millions of years. Look, there's a devil patrolling along there.
Oh.
You can see just in the top there.
What is it on top of?
There's a rise on the enclosure, and what this devil's doing, she's smelt the smell, she's heard the sounds, instinct has kicked in,
That's so funny.
and she's patrolling her home range and just trying to assess where it's all coming from and whether there's anything in it for her.
Yeah. Will they eat the hide also? Will they eat the fur?
Yeah, they'll eat everything. They'll eat teeth, they'll eat bones, and anything that's dead, including us. If we were to die, we're meat.
Absolutely.
They would never hunt us or anything. They hunt as solitary animals. But why are they scavengers? Well, in Australia there's been a big changing, like everywhere on Earth, changing of the guard. Up until sort of a few hundred years before white settlement. These guys were found on the mainland of Australia. What happened? One of the many massive impacts humans have had on this country was the introduction of the dingo by Aboriginal people. So what happened? This is a new animal. The old animals were set in their ways, gone about their way merrily for millions of years. Of course, in the first 10,000 years of Aboriginal settlement was probably the biggest mass extinction brought about by humans. Yeah.
Simply because of the dingo and the humans working together?
No, actually. What happened is we had big animals. They were all hunted to extinction, and the animals that fed on them. You got to realise humans, we've got to survive as well.
Yeah.
It's not like they're maliciously doing it. People survived. I mean, I believe the American Indians contributed to the decline of some of your bigger guys like the
bison.
Oh, but before that, the big
The megafauna.
Yeah. So it's been happening since day dot. But the dingo, what happened? It upset the apple cart because it's more sophisticated. It's an Asiatic wolf. It's good. It's intelligent. It hunts in a group. It's a hunting strategist and opportunist. They hold territories, unlike Australia's wide-ranging marsupial carnivores. So within about 3,000 years, they led to the decline of the top predator, the thylacine or Tasmanian tiger, a marsupial as the size of a large wolf with stripes. That, for millions of years, had been the main provider of food for these guys. It had hunted. These guys would come out at night and clean up. Mm-hmm. So the dingo just simply was too good for that creature, and those guys disappeared. They're hardwired to be scavengers, and as the thylacine disappeared from Tasmania, they didn't really have to reinvent themselves so much because of us, humans with cars. More and more dead animals on the road. So it just led to sort of them keeping pretty much to the old ways. Mind you, nothing's set. Devils can hunt very, very, very ably. Their key to it is they know their limitations. So like the hyena, they're opportunists. They go for soft targets when the odds are stacked in their favour. So these dudes go for sick animals, injured animals, weak, elderly, young, any good opportunity in front of their noses. In some parts of Tasmania, there's just not enough dead stuff for them, so some devils will hunt. 95% of their food will actually come from hunting. If there's a drought and all the dead animals, there's nothing left to die, they've got to hunt. There's no doubt about it. So I've seen an animal like this. Have you seen a Bennett's wallaby yet?
No,
I have, yeah.
Bennett's wallabies, I've seen a devil bring down a Bennett's wallaby about this high.
Wow.
Bennett's wallaby had been struck by a car. So the leg bone was shattered. The blood had attracted it, and what happened, I was working in the Cradle Mountain National Park. I was rangering there, and I saw this. I made an assessment, could this animal be saved? And I was just going back into my vehicle, and a little black face appeared. What did it do? It made its assessment, of course. The wallaby knew what was happening, started to hobble away, and of course adrenaline's kicking in. Those chemical changes that are taking place in the body, we can't pick them up.
Yeah, but
we
the
rely
devil,
on visual clues, but these guys can. So
smell it.
What did he do? Went straight for the intact leg. A tendon bite, the wallaby flat on its face, throat. Gone.
Yeah.
Had that Bennett's wallaby been healthy, the devil simply wouldn't have wasted time. So that's what I mean about being an opportunistic hunter. As for sort of like their diet varies. This is the good thing. They sometimes will switch season. They will vary seasonally, and they do vary their hunting and gathering areas. And younger devils, for instance, will have to hunt more, because what will happen when it comes to a carcass feeding, there's no, oh well, this one's younger. You know, he's weaker than us. We better give him a little look in.
Never.
They'll just throw their weight around,
Yeah.
bully them, drive them off. The younger ones may get sort of some skin and stuff like that, and then they'll have to hunt. They'll have to do more hunting.
Could you touch a little bit on
Sorry, I'll just explain this. This is scent marking, okay? This has got nothing to do with worms. Notice the tail is very sparsely furred. You've got, for the purpose, there's a scent gland there, so don't think it's worm related, because we worm them every month. And that's what's happening. Sorry, you were going to ask?
Oh, I was just going to see if you could touch a little bit on the mouth cancer that I had heard about.
Most certainly. Here's two options. If you wanted to go down now for the kangaroo feeding, and there's the other one still patrolling